Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Pathfinder Kingmaker. This is Girl RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today in the contest in the Rushlight Fields. Why is there loot over? I wonder what I left behind. Anyway, we need to talk to... what's his name? Nunzio Arpaia, that's his name. Because there's more to come. I just don't know where Nunzio is. Which is a bit of a problem. Tiny, little bit. We should be okay finding him over here. He's over there. Who could have thought that it would be the... I actually never noticed. It probably says over here, so significant characters and objects. Aren't they all significant? This is discrimination, honestly. Where's Nunzio? Hi. You're in the same place. Your Royal Highness, welcome to the Rushlight Tournament. My name is Nunzio Arpaia. I have the honor of being... Yes, I'm ready to participate in the Drunken Melee. Then let's begin. It will be splendid. Will it? Will it? Are we actually drunk? For honor, for glory, for free drinks. Defeat your opponents without using weapons, special abilities, or casting spells. He didn't say anything about lowering the difficulty. Without using weapons? What does this game expect of me, really? Okay. That's the first, obviously. That's looking pretty grim for this one over here. Or, not pretty grim, but the opposite. So I'll attack you here. No, don't turn to me! What a jerk. Now I take damage. Okay, not too bad. That's a lot of arterial blood spattering. That guy's attacking him, that's good news. I'm taking damage. I'm gonna attack you here. Let's see. That's good enough, let's attack you now. See if I can bring you down. I keep forgetting that I need to pause the game to see the health. There we go. Okay, these guys are chumps. Not just pause the game. I need to pause the game and then press tab for reasons. Okay. This is bad. I don't like it. We won, but it was neck and neck. Oh, I didn't actually lose health. That is... I appreciate that, game. Thank you very much for that. Let me save. Oh, I saved. Oh, it's behind the saving thing. It's behind the thing. The journal. Nunzio. He goes back to that. The tournament is finished, isn't it? I'd like to know who won. Yes, His Highness is about to make a speech announcing the winner. Look, everyone's gathering around now.
Lords and ladies, another Rushlight tournament has come to an end. I'd like to thank all of you who honored this event with your presence. My friends, I'm happy to see all of you, but I'd like to give a special welcome to one guest who found themselves invited here for the first time. Today we had the Baroness... no, excuse me, it's Queen now, isn't it? Of a majority of what was once the Stolen Lands. Thank you for coming, my darling. I can call you that, right? I thank you with all my heart. I first learned of her from my friend Stefano Mosconi. To be honest, his report was less than flattering. Impassable swamps, monsters galloping about, and a complete absence of any valuable resources. Nothing more than a dirty hole ruled by another bandit lord, hardly worthy of your attention. That's what he wrote back then. I'm so happy he was wrong. Truth be told, even now traveling that domain is a less than pleasurable experience. Some roads have appeared, but their safety leaves much to be desired. Take the sad story of a poor Toman Henvaki from Gralton. He set off to those lands and hasn't been seen since. His brother Edrist went to find the poor fellow, and what happened? He returned empty-handed. Tormund seems to have vanished into thin air, like hundreds of travelers before him. At least Edrist was lucky, I suppose. He managed to come back alive. That's certainly considered fortunate for those who decide to swing through those lands.
That's a high DC right here. DC 37 for all of these. I'm gonna intimidate him. I probably should just kill him, because... What is this? It's obvious he brought me here to get revenge. I mean, he wouldn't bring this up right after praising me so highly for, what, 3 huge paragraphs? And not actually have meant to bring that up all along, and just been ruminating on that probably throughout the whole day. So yeah, his intentions here are very clear. Let's see. Show the guest the signet with Irovetti's monogram, which is probably better than doing that, because the chances of that happening are grim. About 40%, maybe 35. I don't remember how to calculate those, or off the top of my head, because it goes 5% plus and minus. So anyway, I'm gonna show the signet with Irovetti's monogram. I too have a most amusing story for you. This ring was given to me by a gnome called Tartusio on that bloody night when Sword Lord Jamandi Aldori's mansion was attacked. The guests listen to your tale with their mouths agape. Irovetti tries to interrupt you, but everyone's attention is directed at you.
A most amusing story indeed. Unfortunately, it has little to do with me. True, that rascal Tartuccio was spending my money, but he was acting entirely of his own volition.
The guests begin whispering to each other, obviously dissatisfied with Irovetti's excuses. Or so you think.
All I really wanted to get at was that Her Highness is a personage truly as extraordinary as her lands, and I'm happy to see her at this celebration. And now it's time to announce the winner of the tournament.
That feels like the line written for every single time, or for every single choice that you did or had before here. So no matter what option I chose, this line would always appear. It's this one that changes, because all I really want. Just never mind what we just talked about before. That's what that is. That feels like.
This year, no one managed to win all 3 contests. Since the victories all belong to our neighbors here and Pitex, as the chief judge, I'll be rewarding the prize to Pitex for their grace and skill.
This is absurd. We won 2 of the 3 contests. That prize is ours by right.
Just a joke. Please restrain yourself. No need to be mad. Of course the prize is yours. Here you are. Take it. Just don't cause a scene, please. And now, with the competition over and the prize awarded, let's get on with the main part of the celebration. The banquet! I can hear your stomachs growling from here. Let's get to the table, and later we'll see an unforgettable fireworks show.
This feels dangerous. Just saying, it feels dangerous. Fireworks. Wait for news to come is the next. What do you mean, wait for news to come? Oh, we're out here. Well, let's not be out here. Let's be over here instead. Let's, well, let's just wait for news to come. Oh, yes. I can explore Pitax now, though, so that's pretty good. The Rushlight Tournament has begun, and it has ended as well. That's the success of that. What do we have over here? Tristan has some news in the throne room. Well, I guess we didn't need to wait that long, did we? Let's just go back to the throne room, then. Don't skip a day. That's not what I mean. Let's go back to... Man, we're actually quite far away. To Duskdale over there. There's a random encounter. Random encounter. Why? Osprey? This doesn't feel safe for Osprey here. Oh, freaking hell. Casting slow. We're all pretty knackered right now. That's... Osprey's still up. That's a transmuter over there. There's also a conjurer at the back doing the conjuring. Man. That transmuter doesn't die. There we go. Pretty good. Man, we're so slow. Yeah, that's not gonna help you. Osprey. The tall man bows to you politely, face hidden behind an iron helmet. The rumors are true, Your Highness. You're as noble as they say. Hey, my eyes are up here? Thanks. Who are you? You may call me Osprey, Queen Gilladel. Why are you wearing this weird costume? Is it a costume? I'm sorry, I'm very insensitive. Osprey looks at his attire and shrugs helplessly. Believe it or not, I'm not the last remaining member of high society. I could hardly I could hardly do what I do without changing my appearance. Besides, and by the way, I should point out that the narrator didn't actually mention any costume whatsoever, so that line does feel very weird. Besides, as you can see, my profession can be dangerous. Osprey points at the robbers' bodies. I don't want my most active enemies paying a visit to my friends or family. Let them hunt me instead if they so desire. Because I'm Spider-Man. You're dressed in strange... That it does feel like we're talking to Spider-Man over here. He might be... It might be a reference, I don't know. You're dressed in strange clothes, hunting bandits, an odd thing to do. Oh, wait, isn't this the game that mentioned somebody else dressed like a hero? And I mentioned that it feels like it was meant to be written dressed like a superhero, but it wasn't. Isn't this the game? I think it is the game. I definitely played a game that says that, which is ridiculous, but anyway. Osprey grins. Not the first time I've heard those words. I might look odd to a stranger, but not to a teenager, or even crazy, but still. He didn't say the teenager bit. Also, because teenager isn't... You don't say the word teenager until the 1950s, I want to say? Because it's a modern concept, or it's a contemporary concept. Galarian is full of injustice. There are those who take advantage of oppression. There are those who overlook evil right in front of them. And then there are those who commit their time and effort to making this world a better place. Yes, and I'm all three of those. I think I'm the latter, he says, regardless if I'm considered weird or mad. I can't help asking. I mean, I can, but... I won't. Osprey, why? You hear a muffled chuckle from behind the visor of the iron helmet. Yeah, that is the name of the visors in some helmets. Not in helmets, actually, in helms. But the distinction is hard. It doesn't matter, really. Helmet is a small helmet. It's the diminutive of the word helm. And a full-face helmet... Okay, it's still a helmet, right? It's just weird words. But anyway, the point is, he's got a visor. The medieval helms have visors. Some of them, anyway. A good bird, sharp-eyed. Oh, is it? An osprey is a bird, okay. Sharp-eyed, swift, proud. Can't stand bad people. The bird can't, apparently. Or he can't, and so chose the name. I don't know who can't, but somebody can't. Who attacked you? Common cutthroats sell their conscience for a handful of coins. I'm sure the local merchants hate that the common folk have their own men who can't be bribed. I should point out that cutthroats are not necessarily bribed. They're hired. In the same sense that, the carpenter is hired and not bribed, but it's just a different line of work, I suppose. One that murders people, the cutthroats are. But still, I don't know where this mention of... He's very confused. Anyway, it's fine. You must be one of the locals, otherwise why perform such feats in my lands? Let's put it this way. You rule these lands better than dozens of other queens could. But like any other mortal, you're not almighty. And you're not alone. Osprey circles high in the sky. Yeah, nothing is almighty, mate. Almighty doesn't... That's not a thing. Certainly not in this setting, but also philosophically, it just doesn't work. Yeah. Osprey circles high in the sky, deadly and invincible. I can see in the distance what you don't. I'm the hand of your people, ready to help our just ruler. I like what you're doing, apparently. I hope the stolen lands would change. Oh, no, actually, this is the choice. I want to interfere. I would say he's probably chaotic good, even though he's also confused. But I guess chaotic good, confused go hand in hand sometimes. But it's chaotic, so I'll go with that. You make my guards and I look like helpless children. That sounds like a good time. So the opposite of this line, where is it? It's that one? That's the one. Osprey bows, this time sincerely. Because apparently he wasn't doing that before, sincerely. Anyway, thank you for informing me, narrator. Your Highness, if it is so, it will be thanks to our combined deeds. You set a fine example and give hope that the whole kingdom can live guided by conscience rather than heartless legislation. It was a pleasure meeting you, Gilladel. I can't help but crack up. Legislation is the word. Okay, he's used the word legislation, so yes, that is he's the great hero against the heartless legislation. Legislation can mean more than what we think as, you know, people from the 21st century as what legislation is. Legislation is also, at least theoretically, the act of ruling, but it is so not used like that. The word usually doesn't mean that. Heartless ruling, maybe it is a mistranslation, I don't know. Otherwise, just the weird, funny concept. I mean, it's not that he's not necessarily wrong. I mean, for sure, legislation can definitely, and it is often very heartless throughout history and even today. So, yeah, I suppose. And I'm talking about, you know, not this game world's history. I'm talking real history. Anyway, it was a pleasure meeting you, Gilladel, and now I must go. Uran for days. Okay, well, he's off. Scroll of Displacement. I first read that as Scroll of Disappointment. Speaking of disappointment, I got a prize from the thing, as you saw, which means I need to look at what it is. Let's just send you all over here. What is the thing that I got? Lesser Ring of Ultimate Protection. +4 resistance bonus to all saving throws. +1 deflection bonus to... oh, actually, that's pretty good. To armor class. Spell resistance 19 and damage reduction of 1. That is pretty good. Paragon of Winter. What is that one over there? The ring grants both its wearer and the monster summoned by them cold resistance and vulnerability to fire. That's bad. Can I not have that? Because I would like to not have that. Can I put that over there? I can't. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. As it turns out, the armor class I already had. But the rest is pretty good. Let's see. Do you have anything with armor class? Yes, you do. And that means that goes up by 1. But also the saving throws. Which means you should have that. Because you're the tank, and I don't want you not tanking. And what? Deflection bonus to armor class +3 to saving throws against conjuration school. That's just bad. You acquired this while exploring Vorticai Tomb. Yeah, it's not... That's the problem with incremental... I hate it. Anyway, that's the problem with incremental item upgrades. It's that you basically can never really rely on items that you get early in the game, which means you value them less because you're just gonna get better later on. Yeah, I was trying to find if somebody needed a ring of protection, but let's see. Do you want a ring of protection? Yes. Yes, you do. Anyway, let me set this back. My god, I hate it. So, of course, what I had to do was reload a save where I had my inventory, write down all of my... I can't even leave right now. I don't know how to leave. Good job. Write all my items down in a paper, and then reload this save so that I could then look and all the items and then equip them one by one, because this stuff, what you just witnessed, which you didn't, because I'm not going to make you suffer through that, obviously, but what you just witnessed is what makes me so apprehensive of every single time somebody, let's just go, oh, we got things. Every single time somebody strips me of my items in any game whatsoever, because I never trust the developers to come through. So save all the time. Just save all the time. And if this happens and you can't be bothered, shut the game down and come back later if you're playing this by yourself, because that's what I do. And I have no regrets. No regrets. Although it's not necessarily new in this game, to be honest, considering everything is so slow all the time. But that's just the cherry on top of the cake. My cakes never come with any cherry. In the name of the law. That sounds like a thing I want to fail. The Howling Wolves. That's a good one. We're going to howl with the wolves. Valerie, you're going to go in there. What is it? Wolves are breathing at a surprising rate. Okay, Valerie. Well, make sure you wear protection. A group of volunteers have arrived from Brevoy. They're looking to help bring order to these lands. Their people would make a welcome reinforcement for the guards if they could be persuaded to join the ranks. Maybe they could. 100% chance to persuade them to join the ranks. For extra loyalty, apparently. And the Howling of Wolves, go for it. And we're good. Okay, so yeah, did I bring you back out here? Or did I bring you back in there? Either way, we are very close. And we're not going to teleport. We're going to go straight to the throne room. Because we have 3 meetings, I think. Is it 3 meetings? I think there's a bunch of them, so let's just go through them. That's a crown? That's me. Professor, I can't believe you lied to me this whole time. Don't try to deny it. I've heard everything. How you covered for bullies, how it wasn't even Nirovetti who fired you, it was Atalia. How could you? Says Lindsay. Lindsay, please calm down. I didn't deceive you. You never even asked about the circumstances of my dismissal, remember? It's a sensitive subject. I may not have been a good enough student to be one of your favorites like Alondi, but I do remember the basics, like the 7 types of lies. And there's 7 types of lies? That sounds like a solution to the whole problem of what constitutes a lie. Because, that's a philosophical matter that we could discuss, maybe? Let's find out. And I definitely remember your lecture on lies of omission. Lies of omission. I wondered how that works. You wanted me to write a book about all the atrocities going on within the walls of the academy, and you left a pretty big one out. You never told me a student died because of you. What other sensitive subjects have you been avoiding? Yeah, that's not lies of omission. I don't know what definitions you have by lies of omission, but that's not lies of omission. Like, lies of omission isn't you didn't confess to all of your crimes, because ask Tyrion Lannister about that, and the one in the series, because at the time that was told, the series was still sort of following the books, but the one in the books as well has the same story. The point is, yeah, that's not a lie, Lindsay. I'm on his side again, because I just apparently don't agree with their character on a very personal level. Never mind my character. My character certainly doesn't agree. Anyway, Lindsay says, I beg you, or rather, not Lindsay, Elbald says, Lindsay, I beg you, please let me explain. Well, I have 2 options. Let's see. First one, Elbald, is this true? And second one, how much of what you and Lindsay wrote about the Academy is actually true? That doesn't really, I don't really care about that, to be honest, because I didn't read it. Although, I think this one is taking, it's taking the piss out of both of them, to be honest, so I'm not really sure why I would go with that. Elbald, is this true? Yes, Your Highness, I'm afraid it is. As I devoted all my attention to developing the talent of my students, I fear I neglected their moral development, and this led to tragic results. But with all due respect to Headmaster Gitarin, I don't believe in incorrigible villainy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that properly. Of course, that meaning you can't correct it. That's straightforward enough. Especially not at such a young age. Shellin teaches us not to renounce those who stumble, but to give them a chance to reform. I traveled to your lands in the hopes of a new beginning for my student and for myself. And now the second option, how much is it actually true? There is no direct lie, which apparently is one of the 7 lies. That just sounds like a throwaway comment about that 7 lies thing. Lying is a very interesting subject from a philosophical perspective, from a sociological perspective, from a even not ontological, what's the word? Because sociology studies the society, but there's also the one that studies people themselves. Anthropology? Yep, that's the one. Anthropological perspective as well, because, we grow up, lying is sort of it's an interesting thing. The point is, what constitutes a lie? If you're, for example, being, let's see, you're trying to manipulate someone into liking you, for example, and you say nice things about them. Is that a lie? Like, for example, do you say that they look nice? And they do look nice, by the way. They're not good. It's pretty good. Are you lying in a situation that you may not say that same line to another person that you may not necessarily want to like you? Yeah, you're not lying by just, common sense definitions, and common sense is an important measure point whenever we're talking about this sort of philosophical issues. We need to look at what common sense sort of generally says about this sort of stuff, because while it may not necessarily have the fullness of the definition of what lying is, it's still a very important definition that we need to take into account whenever we're talking about lying or things like this. The point is, you're not lying. But what makes it any different than, for example, trying to manipulate somebody into giving you money? Let's go with that, because common sense would say no, you're lying. When you say that they're pretty, and they are. So it's not a direct lie. Let's put it like that. But by most definitions, that would be considered, sort of a lie. It's not a lie. That's the thing. It's manipulation. But manipulation, isn't it the same whenever you're admitting that that you not think of them as I don't know, evil or mean or greedy or anything that we might think as well. So that's where stuff like that's where stuff like saying not what you feel or not the fullness of what you feel being considered a lie is really difficult. You can't just define lying as not being completely forthcoming. Because if that's the case, both of those definitions, the one where you want people to like you and the one where you want people to give you money, and you just say they're pretty, among other things, obviously, because it's not that simple, unfortunately. The point is, both of those definitions would be lying, because you're not being completely forthcoming. You're manipulating people. You're deliberately, I should say, manipulating people, because we are manipulating people all the time, even if we don't do it deliberately. But anyway, the point is, lying cannot be defined as the absence of complete forthcomingness, or whatever the word is. And it is often defined as that whenever we're talking about this, and that it's just that it doesn't work, because you're just ignoring a bunch of other examples that are also the absence of complete forthcomingness, but you don't consider lying. Anyway, let's not dwell too much on that. He says direct lie. He just says that word to me. I admit that in some cases I may have concealed or misrepresented some details to protect the innocent, but believe me, it was with noble intentions. Irovetti's protecting the innocent, sometimes it is with noble intentions, and other times it's with bad intentions. Apparently. Irovetti's atrocities are no secret to anyone, and this book may well bring about the fall of a tyrant, but I cannot allow the Academy to perish alongside Irovetti. There are too many innocents, wonderful artists, poets, and composers who have been tainted by Irovetti's crimes against their will. They stand to lose everything if we publish the truth in its entirety. Lindsay says, so to put things simply, the book is full of lies, isn't it? No, that's to put it wrongly. He didn't say anything about lies. He said, he actually didn't admit to it, but he conceded to the possibility of, how did he put it? Misrepresentation and concealment. There it is. which I don't actually know how you can conceal. Concealing something actively is a thing you might not be able to do in writing, unless you're doing something else to conceal that, like misrepresenting. Oh, okay, so he says or. It may have or. Nah, I think that's an end, because or can be used as end in certain circumstances, especially on the negatory. And I may have for this when it comes to this thing, actually works as a negatory, as in the sense that I don't deny concealing or misrepresenting. So it works as possibility of concealing and misrepresenting. Those are both possibilities. But the point is, I don't know how you actively conceal something. The point is, concealing is not lying, because otherwise don't lock your doors and also walk naked all the time, or something. Misrepresenting here, you could just get so many ways to do that without lying, because of what lying is, which is not misrepresentation of things. I mean, still manipulative, but that's the point. You're trying to bring down a tyrant. Do you expect to work by do you expect to bring a ruler who doesn't work by or play by the rules by playing by the rules yourself? Heh, good luck with that. Let's see what Lindsay has to say, though. You're innocent, she does air quotes, colleagues all pandered to Irovetti, and you want to shift all the blame onto him alone so they all come out clean. That's not what he said, although there's something to be said about their blame in regards to, going along, I suppose, because other people didn't, but it's still a little bit heartless to just be like, no, you live in a dictatorship and you don't rebel against the police. How dare you want any rights whatsoever? Look at all those people who did rebel against the police and died for it. They are the ones that deserve the rights. That's a little bit cruel. People who are under a tyrant, they deserve compassion, not this sort of nonsense. Lindsay, she's a cop. We've seen it since the beginning of the game. We know it. It's fine. Eobald says, what I want is to protect the little good that King Irovetti brought into this world. The Academy is more than just wrongdoings and bullying. It's made up of many brilliant artists who have the potential to change the world for the better. Should we freely trample flowers just for happening to grow out of a muck heap? He asks. I don't think we should. I don't know. Don't trample the flowers. I'm not really sure what that... Oh, right, I see. Just because they happened to grow out of a muck heap. Right. That is grammatically correct, I think. I think that is grammatically correct. It's just really weird. Lindsay, what do you think? I don't know. Teacher, you told me so many times that the world isn't made of things. It's made of stories. And we ourselves are made of stories we tell and believe. But shouldn't those stories also be true? That's the point of... She didn't learn the lesson, unless the lesson wasn't taught properly. It is really interesting to look at the world. I mean, it's not necessary. You don't have... This is not like a supreme truth, hidden secret about the world, that the world is made of stories and only the people who see it as that are the ones that really know stuff. No, it's just a perspective that you can have on the world. But looking at the world as a collection of stories is really interesting, especially when you're studying sociology and history and stuff like that, because it just allows you it sort of allows you to understand how important perspective is, because the story at the end of the world, like a movie, for example, it is really about what your perspective is. And when I say perspective, I do mean I said a movie because the perspective in a movie is the camera, the perspective of the camera. You know what I mean? And that is how movies tell stories. And in a book, it's the same, except it's a little bit more metaphysical, because of course there's no camera in a book. But it's still what you choose to say and what you choose to omit. Is the perspective, because of course you're omitting things in a book. You're not talking about, how many hairs a person has in their head and counting them one by one and saying this one has this length, this one has this length, because that's all true. But the understanding of the world as a collection of stories, and and certainly the understanding of ourselves as a collection of stories, allows us to see how constructed reality is. Constructed in the sense that it is a perspective rather than the wholeness of reality. So it's constructed like a movie. Even if it's a documentary, it's still constructed in this. That's in that sense that it's constructed. And when she says those stories are true, especially when we're talking about a mission, and not lies, especially when we're not talking about lies, then because that's what we're talking about here, not lies. It's just he's just shaping the truth. They're still true. It's just that they're not everything, and everybody knows that you can't understand like a statue. Think of a statue. You can't understand it just by looking at it from one perspective. You need to move around it, and just one photograph of a statue is not going to tell you anything, or not anything. Not going to tell you everything, but it's not necessarily false. That's why you need to read a whole lot of books if you want to study things like this. Or maybe you don't want to do that because you don't really care too much to have a complete and full understanding of what you're studying, which is fine as well. A lot of people don't read more than one perspective, and that's fine as well, because ultimately we only have one perspective of things, and it is ours. Our perspective is the one perspective that we have. So let's see. She says, "You said that people are essentially animals who love stories. Did you really mean that people are just lying beasts?" It's also saying that animals don't have the same... I'm going to use the word limitation, because it is, but don't read too much into that. Saying that animals don't have the same limitations in the understanding of reality as we do is misguided. Animals work the same way. They also have a story. It may not be as relatable to us as we would maybe hope, but they still have a story. It's still the same thing. They can't read, though, because reading is a magic thing, and you just get other people's stories. Or watching movies, I suppose, or seeing Let's Plays on the internet. Did you really mean that people are just lying beasts? She says. I was right in saying what I said about Lindsay. Well, what is the truth then? Asks Theobald. The Insightful. It's interesting that he is called the Insightful. I do think the game... we'll find out. But if I had to bet, I think the game is trying to bring some character growth onto Lindsay. That would be lovely, because I haven't seen that happen to anybody else. We're not new shocks or historians. Wait. What is the truth then? A precise statement of past events? We're not new shocks or historians, bound to precision for the sake of precision. Also new shock. I don't know what new shocks are, but historians, that they have the same limitations as what I said. That I'm talking from largely from my own experience of learning history, because I majored in archaeology and I had a lot of classes in history and just historical theory and all this sort of stuff. Well, just one class in historical theory, but anyway. A bard must take into consideration how her story will affect her audience. Truth and fiction are our materials. They're as valuable as to us as rough marble to a sculptor. The same story used to evoke anger, envy, or fear can be turned to inspire bravery, love, and hope. Yeah, that's very true. Both versions told in full truth. It's basically what I was saying. He's not necessarily making as much of an effort as I am trying to explain to you why that is the case, but he's definitely referring to what I'm saying here. The same thing, the same objective thing can invoke different things, and you, as a teller of stories, can use that to let's use the word advantage here, but don't read too much into that. You can use that to your advantage. So if you want, you have one single joke, and you can invoke love with it, or you can invoke anger with it, and telling it when you want to tell it, the same exact joke. It's a true joke, or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a joke, but the point is, the same exact true thing, you can use it to two different effects. Are you lying? You're being manipulative. You're saying that, your beautiful thing that I just referred, that example that was rubbish. Or at least, it wasn't necessarily rubbish. I think it's a good example because it's relatable. His just a lot more poetic and nice. But the point is still the same. The events at the base of the story aren't what's important. What's important is the lesson your listeners take from it. No, everything is important. He's just trying to... What's important to him, to his thing, is to bring a tyrant down. So, that's what's important here, and I think that's something we all should be able to relate to. Lindsay turns to you, baffled. Oh, character growth! Ooh, look at all that character growth that we have. 6 options that we have over here. I don't know what to do, she says. I want to burn the manuscript. Yes, I realize that. That's why I called you a cop, Lindsay. Start over and write the whole dirty truth about the Academy, but maybe teacher is right. Yeah, that would be a horrible mistake. Maybe saving the Academy brings is more important than pushing or punishing everyone who's guilty. Yes, Lindsay. Well, I'll read over these options in between episodes because we're out of time for the day. And I also need to publish this video because I'm recording it on the day it goes up. So I will be back. I will be back with the choice in the next episode because you know how it is. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, oh, well, as I said, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.